welcome to the podcast, The Millionaire of the Diamonds. I'm Maria Mariano, 4 decades in a leadership position. And today is one of the most powerful elements that one must be able to do if you want to reach your next level. So what are we talking about today? Letting go of the old friends, colleagues, relationship, to make space for the new you. And that is so hard. And you're going to get the science behind that with Jean-Philippe Jacques, Jean-Philippe, which said to Sylvain when we were covering it in the mastermind, the fear of being left alone, because we're tribal, human beings are tribal specimens. I don't know how to say it. Animal. Yeah. So I really, really got it. And then Marie-Pierre, as you were giving us a few examples of the social mirror, and I said, people really do that? Count how many times they called versus the other one. I said, God, they need to get a life. They need to get a life. So I'm excited for this podcast, and it's going to address anybody out there that is afraid of letting go of a friendship, even if you know they no longer fit in the destination that you are meant to go. So before we dive into the subject, we're going to have to share this podcast. Over to you, Marie-Pierre.
Yes, so it's time to share the podcast on every social media platform. So you'll see the arrow just beside where you write your comments, so you can share everywhere. And in the comment, you have a text that you can copy paste when you share, so people understand why they should click on the link and listen to the podcast. But of course, if you have someone in mind that you really want them to listen, the best way to do it is to share it one by one. Text message, messenger, best way to do it. So same thing, you will see the arrow, you click on that and you will see all the options, so you can share directly to one person at a time. And then we have our contest, Millionnaires des Diamants. So first, when you go on our Facebook group, Les Millionnaires des Diamants Inspirational Group, every time you post, every time you react, every time you comment on the group, you gain points during the month to be in the top 10 contributor. And at the end of the month, the official top 10 get a voucher to go shop on the boutique Les Millionnaires des Diamants. And then we have a draw, and at the end of each month, so to be in the draw, there's two ways. The first way is with the boutique Les Millionnaires des Diamants. So when you go and you place an order, when you receive your order, make sure that you always take a picture and you post on social media and you tag Les Millionnaires des Diamants. And the second way, same thing, but with the books Les Millionnaires des Diamants. So you just received one of the books, you take a picture. You're doing one of the chapter, you take a picture. You're doing one of the quiz book, you take a picture. You're doing one of the workbook, you take a picture. You're using your agenda Les Millionnaires des Diamants, you take a picture. You can have a new picture every day to post on social media, and always tag Les Millionnaires des Diamants when you post. And last thing, if you don't already have your ticket for the next conference, it's time to go and click on the link to register and be with us. It's a virtual conference. That means that you can join us from all around the world. No matter where you are, you can join us. But of course, if you are close to Anjou and you want to be with us in the studio during the conference, there's still some place. So when you get your ticket, send me a message so I can add you to the list of people that will be in the studio with us. Voila.
Thank you so much. And tomorrow is the recognition. I got it. I got it. I got it. I got it. Okay. So let's dive in right away. I just want to say good morning to my friends, Lise, Jacqueline, that I see here this morning, Martin. I didn't see Matthew. Yet. I see Megan with the team. We've got Kendra. We've got Carolyn here. Good morning. Good morning. James is here. James, good to see you at the meeting last night. Always stay close to that fire. Louise is with us this morning. I hope I didn't miss anybody. Martin Noel, welcome, welcome. So open your open yourself up to what you're going to hear today, because what Mel Robbins shares is very deep, and she talks about a very vulnerable story of hers in her own life. She talks about a period in her life when she and her husband Chris had built what seemed like the perfect community. They had children the same age, they had the same friends, they attended the same schools, the soccer games, the same parties, the same weekend activities. Life was good. And let me tell you, as I was reading this, I saw a lot of my life in there in the beginning, a long, long time ago, and the friends and people I would hang out with then, okay? Then something unexpected happened. One of Mel's closest friends moved into the neighborhood, and at first she was thrilled, but over time, that family became very close with her friends. Now, this got to me a lot because I'm saying, if this is still going on in the early 40s, there's a problem, right? So Mel here had been spending all her time with these friends, and now slowly she felt that she was being put aside, right? Jealousy, resentment, hurt. And I said, "Oh, Mel, I wish I had you in my life back then. I would have shaken you up and said to you, no, 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 build your inside." And that's what she had to learn the hard way, right? She began feeling as though she had been replaced. And what I appreciated most about Mel Robbins reading this yesterday was her capacity to be absolutely honest and taking full responsibility. Okay. So she admitted that nobody did anything wrong, nobody intentionally excluded her. Life simply had shifted, right? The families that started hanging around together, they lived closer than she did. Their schedules were more aligned than hers. Naturally, the friendship would have naturally evolved more than her friendship with these people. But at the time, she couldn't see it that way. She interpreted change as rejection. And you really have to think about this a lot because I've seen people live this. I've seen people live this. And that's where today's lesson begins, right? Because if we're honest, many of us have done exactly the same thing. Remember when I told you about my sister, where I said to her, this is a one-way friendship, Patty. I really want you to stop cooking supper and see if they still come over. Okay. Like sometimes you're just going to need an outside person to make you realize what's really, really happening. So let me bring this lesson into my own life, right? So many years ago, one of my closest friends, Carmela, we shared many, many wonderful moments, like honestly beautiful. Okay. We were building, we were having suppers together. We were learning new cooking techniques for our children. But then, as time evolved, what happened was we each went our own direction. I'm very ambitious, very unapologetically ambitious. So life's just like it's a page that kind of turned. Now, what happened here is that Carmela, even if she's 12 years different age with my sister Patty, she started hanging around with Patty because I now had something this weekend because now my kids had grown. I had something this weekend. And slowly she started creating memories with my sister. Now, what's important here to know, and that's what I said to Marita when it comes to her exercise, my God, you really don't have to be busy if you start checking, who's hanging around with who. So I'm just very fortunate to always have been in a personal development program, personal growth program, that I never saw this. I was just happy that their friendship together was evolving. So I felt less guilty of continuing with my own friendship. So what's very important to see here is our once common conversation. We no longer had any common conversation because if one person wants more and this person settles, you have to understand there's a wall here that is created. Now, one of two things are going to happen. Either I need to make myself smaller and pretend I'm not ambitious and pretend I don't want more to make them comfortable because they would never do the other way, right? Or say they were in my life for a season and now it's time for me to move on. And that's exactly what happened with no resentment because I've always been very good at, we have an expression here in Tupperware, Maria pushes chairs. I've always been very good when I see that this conversation is not going anywhere. I'm very good at metaphorically pushing chairs so you automatically turn to somebody else and talk with somebody else. That is my strongest point. And I really have to thank my father for teaching me that. He always taught me when there's nothing left to say, get up and get out. Get up and get out. Otherwise, you end up saying things you're not supposed to say. I can't tell somebody, well, you think too small. I can't tell somebody, well, it's not like that's not my job. That's not my job. My job is to be the best version of myself. So, where I want to leave you here is with this. The mature response is never resentment. The mature response is always gratitude. We need to thank you for the season you've been in my life. We need to thank you for the memories you helped me create. We need to thank you for what we've shared together. And if life brings us back together again, wonderful. And if it doesn't, I still wish you well. So many people in my life have never come back. Never, never. With Carmela, many years later, when we started what we called our cooking lessons in Tupperware, she came back. See, now she had a purpose and she felt valued. The same way this Friday, after over 20 years, I met with my friend Donna, who added so much depth to my life. And it was just like reconnecting the day after the last meet. These are the kind of people you want to attract in your life. And these type of people will help you enter the new season of your chapter of your life so you can accomplish all that you were meant to accomplish. Now, to understand why a lot of us are afraid to do this, I'll leave you in the hands of Jean-Philippe. So he will give you the psychology, the science behind it, so you get that courage to do what you have to do. Get rid of the old. No. Let me try that again, Jean-Philippe. Turn the page and thank the old for having been there, because you wouldn't be where you are today, be able to move to your next level. Voila, that's better said. Bravo, Maria. Okay, Maya.
Thank you, Maria. Such a great introduction, like for our chapter today. So yes, like what we are going to look at is why the brain confuse changes with danger. Okay, so I'm going to explain it to you through four different like concept. The first one is, as I said, we're going to explain how the brain is confusing change with danger. The second one will be about the story making machine. The third one is about the identity attachment. And number four, the emotional maturity. So let's begin. So the first one, we've covered it like through probably like all of the chapters since the beginning. We need to understand how our brain like is wired, and our human brain is wired for belonging. Okay. And when we do not belong somewhere at some places, like we react, we feel like we are in a survival mode, and our brain doesn't like that. So yes, for 100,000 of years, if we are being separated from a tribe, it means death, no protection, no food, no survival. And our brain hasn't changed much since then, even if there's no real danger like really outside. So today, you are no longer included, okay, in a group. You don't receive the invitation, okay? Your friend stops spending time with you, okay? So your brain will activate the same circuits as if it is in danger, okay? It will feel like you will experience jealousy, hurt, rejection, anxiety, and overthink. Your body will actually react the exact same way. Okay, so as Maria just like described the story of Mel Robin, okay, this is what happened to her. Okay, so nobody intentionally exclude her. Okay, but proximity simply change over the time. The family, like even if they live across the street, okay, the kids takes the same bus. Okay, the structure just has changed. And for our brain, okay, it interpreted as a change, so a rejection, so a threat. So you need to understand that change over time is not rejection. It's just like that your brain treats it as a danger. So you got to be aware of that. Second pillar, the story making machine. So yes, Maria often used to say, I did remember when we were doing like some training at the office. Um, well, she said it in French. Le cerveau est un excellent serviteur, un très mauvais maître. So the brain is an excellent. How do you
Sir,
translate?
an excellent servant, but a very bad master.
Exactly. Okay. So if you let your brain control you, unfortunately, what will happen? It will start making like history. Okay. And those story will be like out of this world and could be in Hollywood. Okay. So your brain hates emptiness. Okay, when it doesn't understand something, you gotta invent an explanation. So if like you got the same situation that some of your friends are changing, or like the group is being maybe like distant from you, you will start saying, oh, they don't like me anymore, I must have done something wrong, they have replaced me, they forgot about me, I'm not good enough for them. Okay, most of the times those stories are just false. That's it. Okay, so you gotta replace those stories, you gotta stop letting your brain control you. Okay, so you gotta find a solution. Okay, you gotta look for the facts. What are the facts? What actually changed? Is it the timing? Is it the proximity? Is it the energy? Is it just a different phase of your life? You gotta start looking for the facts. What is real in that? Because if you fall in the trap of the story making machine, you will completely change the real story, and it will become a personal tragedy. And we don't want that. You don't want to be a drama queen. Okay. So you just want to be sure that you are looking at the fact. Pillar number three. So concept number three is called identity attachment. Okay. So here is when we become attached to an identity within our friendship. Okay. So sometimes when you are part of a group or a tribe, okay, you got an identity, you got a task, you got something to do, you're there for a reason. Okay, and sometimes you will identify them as, oh, we are best friend. So it's much more harder to live a situation where you say you are best friends than living just somebody. It's the idea, it's the identity, is what you've construct over that relationship that is taking like most place. Or we always vacation together. So now that you're not with them anymore, or not part of the group, you can't do that anymore. Or we are the core of the group. I'm the planner. I'm like the humorist of the group. I'm the confident. Okay. So when the friendship change, okay, you're not just grieving the person, you're grieving the identity that existed within the relationship. Okay, so attachment to an identity makes change painful. Okay, because you're not just losing that relationship, you're losing both parts, who you are in that group and that person. So the key is to understand that your identity is not fixed with any single friendship. Okay, you're more than your relationship. You evolve as a human being, and that is normal. So you understand that by evolving, your role will evolve in other groups also. And finally, number four, emotional maturity. Okay, there is a difference between people that are mature and immature in those kind of event when you got distant from a group or it just changes. An immature response will be, why are they doing this to me? They are mean. They betray me. I'm going to ignore them. Okay, but the mature response is, okay, what has changed? How do I have to adapt? Do I have to fight back for something, or what's in my control? What is not? So here it's really about the let them and let me focus on myself. Okay, so emotional maturity is the ability to say, my brain interpret this change as a rejection, but it wasn't personal. It was like proximity or timing that has changed, and now I just have to understand what is my next step. Okay, so it's really about recognizing that you don't have to stay in a friendship, okay, that no longer serve you. Okay, and sometimes people just came into your life for a season, and that is normal. So those were the four principles. Okay, so we understand now how the brain confuse change with danger, the story making machine, because your brains want to find like a reasoning, but look at the fact. The identity attachment, this will just change, and you're not only your identity in that group. And be mature by understanding how you can let them, but let focus on yourself. So they say that the strongest friendship are not the one that never change, they are the one that survive change. And sometimes people will get back to your life, sometimes not, but that is okay. So now to understand how are your reaction in those relationships, those friendship, I'm going to let you in the end of Marie-Pierre.
Thank you, Jean-Philippe. So yes, today the question is not if your friendship change, because they will always do. Life change, friendship will change, all those kind of relationship and will change in life. So the question with the quiz today is, how do you respond when those friendship change? So we want to respond that honestly, not to judge ourselves, but to discover if we are responding with emotional maturity or the emotional assumption. So it's easy this morning. It's A or B for each question. So are you ready? We start with question number one. So have you ever stopped reaching out to someone simply to see if they would reach out first? So A, yes, I wanted to see if their friendship mattered equally to them. Or B, no, if I value the friendship, I don't make the connection a test. Question number two. Have you ever mentally kept score in a friendship? Like, okay, I called 3 times, they called 1 time, I always invite, they never invite me. So A, yes, more than I'd like to admit. Or B, no, I try to focus on the overall relationship rather than keeping count. Question number three. You have a friend that takes several days or weeks to respond to a message. What do you think? A, I often assume they're ignoring me or don't value their friendship anymore. Or B, I remind myself that I don't know what is happening in their life. Question number four. You see one of your friends becoming closer to another person. How do you feel? A, I sometimes feel replaced. Or B, I understand that people can have multiple meaningful relationships. And question number five. When you have a friendship that changed, what story do you tell yourself first? A, something must be wrong, or B, something may simply be different. So did you get mostly A's or mostly B's? So if you have it mostly A's, you are the scorekeeper. So you value friendship deeply, you are loyal, caring, and emotionally invested. But sometimes when friendship change, you may interpret change as rejection. So you may only keep score the who called first, who invited who, and who made more effort or who reached out last. But you may find yourself creating those stories that, oh, maybe they forget me, or they replace me, or they don't care. They should be making more effort. So the challenge is that many friendships are damaged not by fact, but just by assumption. So your growth opportunity here is to learn to separate the fact from the stories your mind creates. So ask yourself, why do I know for sure? And then could there be another explanation? So most adult friendships don't end because someone stopped caring, but they often change because life changed too. And if you have mostly B's, now you are the seasonal thinker. So you understand what is really important here, that relationship evolve. So you recognize that people move through different seasons of life, and you appreciate your friendship for what they contribute rather than measuring them only by their consistency. So you understand that some friendship will pause, some will deepen, some will change, some will reconnect years later, and some become beautiful memories that help shape who you are right now. So you don't need friendship to stay exactly the same in order to appreciate them. So your strength is that emotional flexibility. So you allow people to grow without taking their growth personally. So you understand that different friendships serve different purpose throughout your life. So three, daily practice for healthier adult friendship. Number one, stop keeping score. So friendship is not a spreadsheet. So healthy relationship is not measured by who texted first, who invited first, or who called last. So focus on the connection and not accounting. Number two, assume positive intent. So before creating a story, ask what else could be true. So maybe they are overwhelmed, maybe they are caring for a parent, maybe they are struggling, maybe they are simply busy. So don't let assumption become fact in your mind. And number three, reach out without expectation. So send the text or make the call or share the memory, not because someone owes you something, but just because the friendship matters to you, and maybe it will still matter and still does right now. So when you decide to reach out to someone, just without expectation. So because the goal is not to force every friendship to stay the same. The goal is to appreciate what each friendship brought to your life. Because some people will enter your life for a reason, some just for a season, and some precious few will be there for a lifetime. So keep that in mind when you reach out to your friend. So on that, we wish you a beautiful day, and we'll see you tomorrow morning for the next podcast.